Hello and welcome back to another video by jmadden184. It is December 20th, 2012. This will be the last update of the year, and hopefully we're all still here after tomorrow, the 21st. So, for those of you that have been following along with me for quite some time, I appreciate all the support. And since the last update on the system in November, you all remember that I got this coral light fixture with the dual 250 watt double-ended metal halide bulbs running the 14,000K Phoenix bulbs, and this is the coloration that you get with them. And all I can say is that over the last month of running this fixture, the corals have responded amazingly. The corals are growing great. The color in the corals is intensifying. The rose bubble tip anemones are just loving this light fixture. I mean, their color is the best it's ever been, and they're actually growing too large, and I may have to get rid of some of them. One of the major changes that's gone on in the system since the last update is the left side of the tank. As you can see, my overflow box, I moved it to the left about 6 inches. The reason for doing this was, well, there's a couple of reasons. First reason is my overflow box is covered in green star polyps. Now, for those of you that have owned green star polyps and still own them and wish you can get rid of them, you understand where I'm coming from, because they're just incredibly toxic, and pretty much anything that they touch, they will kill. So this was kind of a problem, because as my SPS frags are starting to grow out into small colonies, they were encroaching and growing towards the green star polyps. So I figured, let me just move this to the left even further. There's nothing really over there. So I moved it, and what this did was this allowed me to get roughly another 3.5–4 inches front to back on the left side of the tank on that island of SPS, and this allowed me to spread out the frags so they have more room to grow, because they've just been growing nuts underneath these lights. Most specifically, of course, the large acro in the middle, and I'll get into that here in a minute. I'll get a zoom in and show you what's going on. So let's get to it here. I'll go ahead and show you a rundown on some of the corals that I think that you'll enjoy looking at, and document some of the growth that's going on in this tank. First things first, start with the SPS. And SPS corals are doing awesome. The large acro on the right has just been branching out and growing incredibly fast. In the last video I was talking about all the new little sprouts that were starting, they were going to become branches. Well, they're already branching out now, and that's really awesome. There's actually a few new SPS in here that I don't think I've shown you guys yet. So we'll start over here on the bottom right. This one here is a pink bird's nest. It's pink and it has purple polyps. It was more of a yellowish brown when I got it, and since being underneath my lighting, it started to pinken up quite a bit, and the polyps are turning a deep purple, so that's really, really cool. And right here I have this small blue frag. I'm not certain what type of acropora that it is, so if you know it, go ahead and let me know. And I also got this coral here. This is a acropora, obviously, and the common name of it is the surf and turf acro. I'm using a new camera. I'm actually using the iPhone 5 to film, so I'm not too sure how well the colors are going to show up, but it has a deep green base and has blue tips on it. Over there behind it, you'll see that pink coral. sitting down there. This is also a new addition, and I'm not quite sure what type of coral it is, but I'm fairly certain that it is a tabling type of coral. It is bright pink, and it actually has a light yellow base to it. But we'll see how it colors up underneath these metal halides. Back there behind it is the Acropora miliopora, and that millie is just growing nuts, looking way better than it did when it was over here in this location where the rose bubble tip anemone is now, and it's looking great. Also, you're going to see to the right of it is another Acropora. I was calling this one a green slimer, but I really don't know anymore what it is, but it's showing good growth on it as well. And just below it is another small coral. As I mentioned before, this one just grew from a tiny little piece of nothing, and it's starting to bulge out, so that's really cool. And in the middle here, you're going to see the red planet. And the red planet is just really taking on this really rich red color with a bright green base. It just looks awesome. One of the SPS that isn't doing so well is this one here. It still has polyp extension, but it's lost a lot of color. It really got banged up bad. One of the anemones moved and just stung the crap out of it. So it's over here in this section now. This whole section was redone to support the SPS. And to the left of it is the Sunset Monty. This Sunset Monty was doing really well, but it fell behind the rock work and I had no way to get it. And I ended up just, saying screw it and taking apart the reef over here to get it out. And it's still got some good color in it, but we'll see how it does. And since we're over here, the rose bubble tip anemones, look at the color of this anemone, guys. It's so happy, so healthy, loving the metal halides. And of course, you got your frog spawn, just doing good. And just to the right of it there is a little chalice. You got some pulsing zinnia, some zoanthids, a little fluorescent green cabbage leather. That was a little piece of nothing that's starting to really grow and look good. The yellow tang, of course. The calistria coral there in the middle, I had to move it. It was where the bird's nest is, but I moved it over here and it seems to be doing well. Tube worm growing nicely, and as you can see, there's the tamingi tang showing up, growing fast. Trying to be tough right there. Yep, you're cool. And of course, you got the purple Veleta down here, and to the right of it, you have the Hawking's echinata and the gecko green from ORA. That one hasn't really shown much growth. It's actually just encrusting underneath the plug, so hopefully it starts doing something soon. And the acan to the left is doing great. And behind those little frags, there's some Paleothoa grandis, which are growing well. New babies growing there. The little Tyree toadstool bud is starting to grow and take the shape of an actual toadstool leather now. This chalice is doing great. Superman Monty is growing well on it. Lots of war between the Montipora and the chalice on there, as you can see. The zoos are doing well. And I wanted to show you this here. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but anyway, can't really see it, but if you look at the edge of the chalice and follow it down where that purple part is of coral analogy, just to the right of it is another tiny little coral that just started growing there. We'll see what that turns into. And of course we have some mushrooms, some more Paleothoa grandis in the back there, which are growing nicely. These candy canes are just huge, massive polyps. And the Trichophilia radiata is just too big for this tank. Probably going to be getting sold here soon if I can get a good buyer with a tank that can handle a piece this large. In the back you got the Lobophilia, which is doing outstanding. And of course the Tyree toadstool up here. Another bud came off, and I stuck it here in this coral skeleton, waiting for it to attach itself. And of course all these zoanthids are looking great, as well as the orange torch, which is just the brightest orange. And over here is a little spot that I did a little different. As you recall, over here in the bottom left, in this section here, were some of those Duncans, the non-branching form. And I wanted to move them. They kept getting buried, so what I decided to do is I stuck a rock over here, some branch rock that I had, and I placed another rock here on top of it, so it's kind of suspended between this rock on the right and back there. And I stuck the two little pieces of Duncan up there, and I replaced this branching Duncan in front of it. And I really like the effect of it. It's this little area just for the Duncans. I like it a lot. And of course the hammer is just huge. Like, each stalk is split in 3 pretty much, so I don't even know how many heads are on this, probably like well over 40 now. It's just a monster, and I'm really holding off on fragging it because I just love a nice mature colony like that. And the frog spawn up here is just going nuts too, branching like crazy. And of course all the rose bubble tip anemones. And there are the clowns, happy couple. As you know, they laid some eggs again recently, not since the last video, but here again, and the eggs are almost ready to hatch, so they're looking great. Lavender favia, just massive dome, growing quickly. More Pythoa grandis, and another candy cane of some sort over here on the right. And underneath here, this is one of the things that really doesn't get a lot of attention in my tank. I don't talk about the little things, but underneath here is a blue spiny lobster. This guy was about 3/4 of an inch when I first got him, and he's molted twice already, and he's now, if I can get a shot here, fishing away, doing really, really well, growing quickly. And one of my favorite pieces here is this one. I was calling this a tricolor veleta, but it's actually an Acropora plana. And this coral is a tabling type, and it normally has like a yellowish to green base with purple tips and brown polyps. And this thing is just an incredibly healthy piece. There's a little Acropora crab that lives inside there, and he does a really good job of keeping this coral clean and healthy. As you can see, there's lots and lots of little branches starting to grow out from the main branches since this piece was introduced to the system. So it's looking really great. And of course, how can I forget this mound of mushrooms that's just taking off and just going crazy. Maybe I'll get rid of some of these, but these are gorgeous mushrooms. I love these mushrooms. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that's going on. Just a quick little, I guess, catalog of how the corals are doing. That'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks for watching and for supporting my channel. Stay tuned, many more videos to come here in the new year. Take care, happy holidays, enjoy your families, and enjoy your tanks. Take care, everyone.